I am Bharadwaj and I'm a postdoc at MIT working with Professor Munza Dale. And today I'm going to talk about our work on designing energy storage markets for integrating battery storage services in the grid. And the high level scenario that we have in mind is one where there is increased electric vehicle penetration in the grid and EVs that are not in transit can lease their batteries to the grid for storage. And the question that we are after is what are the right incentive structures to have to incentivize EV operators to lease their battery to the grid for energy storage? So without further ado, I go into the problem setup. So consider a general power system, an example of which I've illustrated in this figure. So there are three generators in this figure, and there are three load buses. And there are a few EVs that are connected to each load bus. We discretize time so that the duration of a day is divided into capital T time intervals. And I'm going to denote by di of k the energy demand of load bus I at time k. And this demand does not include the demand due to the EV. It is only the non-EV load that I denote by di of k. And the system operator's objective is to determine an energy dispatch of the generators and a charge-discharge schedule of every EV so that the demand is satisfied. And this is a decision that the system operator has to make in the day-ahead market. While making this decision, the system operator has to be conscious of a few constraints that it has to satisfy, and we list these constraints one by one. So the first constraint is that there can be no demand-supply mismatch at any time. And this constraint, the way I've written here, incorporates the presence of EV storage. To elaborate, Y denotes the admittance matrix of the grid. Theta of k is a vector which contains the voltage angle at every bus. G of k is a vector that denotes the generation at every bus. S of k is a vector which specifies the amount of energy to be injected into every EV at time k. And D of k is a vector that denotes the demand at every bus at time k. The second constraint is that none of the transmission line capacities can be exceeded. And so constraints 1 and 2 is something that you would get by writing down the DC power flow approximation for the grid. The third constraint has to do with the EV, and it says that the system operator cannot discharge from any EV any more energy than it has already stored in that EV. So that gives rise to this third inequality constraint. And finally, the ISO cannot exceed the battery capacity of any EV. So that's the fourth inequality constraint. And based on these constraints, we define a feasible set of outcomes as the set of all generation and charge-discharge schedules which satisfy all of these four constraints. So it's only outcomes that are in F that satisfy the demand without violating any network or EV battery capacity constraints. Each generator has associated with it a cost function. So I'm going to denote by Ci of G the cost of the production function of generator I. And for any power generation profile Gi of 1 up to Gi of T, the cost function of that T tuple specifies the cost that generator I incurs for producing that power sequence. Now, a generator can express a variety of constraints using its cost function, such as its ramping constraints and nameplate capacity constraints. As an example, the generator can set to infinity the cost of those T tuples that are infeasible to generate, for example, due to ramping constraints. Similarly, each EV also has associated with it a cost function. I'm going to denote by CIS the cost function of EVI. And it specifies for any charge-discharge schedule SI of 1 up to SI of T, the cost that EVI incurs if its charge-discharge schedule is SI of 1 up to SI of T. Okay, and an EV can also express a variety of preferences using its cost function. The most important, the two important preferences that I wish to highlight in this talk are its deadline preference and its energy requirement preference. So what do I mean by a deadline? So by a deadline of a particular EV, we refer to the time until which the EV can remain plugged into the grid. Beyond its deadline, the EV has to disconnect from the grid, for example, for its to satisfy its transportation requirements. By energy demand of an EV, we mean the net charge that has to be injected into the EV before its deadline. Okay, so the way an EV can express its deadline through its cost function is by setting to infinity the cost of those t tuples which either charge or discharge the EV beyond its deadline. Similarly, the energy requirement can be expressed by the EV by setting to infinity or to a very high value the cost function of those t tuples that do not apply the required amount of charge before its deadline. Now, the ISO's problem is to, so one of the key problems that the system operator has to solve in the day-ahead market is called the economic dispatch problem. And in the presence of EV storage, the economic dispatch problem takes the form which I've mentioned here. So the system operator has to choose that outcome F from the set of feasible outcomes, which minimizes the total cost of generation plus the total cost of incurred by all the EVs. The system operator can solve this problem if it knows the cost functions of the generators and the EVs. However, the problem that it runs into is that it may not know these cost functions, especially the cost functions of the EVs, because the cost function of an EV depends on its deadline as well as its energy requirement. And these are two quantities which are private knowledge of the EV. And so the system operator may not know the cost functions of the EVs. In order to get around this problem, the system operator requests the EVs and the generators to bid their cost functions to it in the day-ahead market. However, the problem that we focus in this paper is one where the players, by which we mean either a generator or an EV, are strategic agents, and so they may not bid their cost functions truthfully in the day-ahead market. So I've illustrated that in this figure. So there are a few generators and there are a few EVs, and they are supposed to bid their cost functions to the independent system operator in the day-ahead market. However, being strategic, they may not report these cost functions truthfully, and so we denote by RI the bid of player I. And being strategic, player I may not set its bid Ri to be equal to its true cost function Ci. And this brings us to the mechanism design problem. So the ISO has to make two decisions in the day-ahead market. The first decision is that it has to determine an outcome, F star of R, within the set of feasible outcomes. And this outcome has to be based on what the players report to it in the day-ahead market. Secondly, the ISO also has to determine a payment rule PI for every player I, which specifies the payment that player I receives, in return for that player I receives for any outcome F. And these two functions, the decision rule as well as the payment rule, are design choices that the ISO can determine in any way that it wishes. Each player also has a utility for every market outcome, and we define the utility of player I for a market outcome F as the payment that player I receives minus the cost that it incurs for that particular outcome. And the actual market outcome that is computed in the day-ahead market is a function of the bids of all the players. And so the utility of any player I is a function of both its own bid Ri as well as the bids of all the other players. And this brings us to the mechanism design problem, which is to design a decision rule F star and a payment rule PI for every I, such that for all players, bidding its cost function truthfully is a dominant strategy. And moreover, this dominant strategy equilibrium has to minimize the sum cost of all players. So this kind of states that this mechanism has to be efficient. So the way this is, it's very easy to kind of map this to a VCG problem. And so you can use the VCG mechanism to design a dominant strategy equilibrium for this setting. So a decision rule assumes that the players bid their cost functions truthfully, and then the ISO chooses an outcome F from the set of feasible outcomes, which minimizes the sum cost based on the reported bids. And then there is a payment rule, which which is basically the VCG payment rule, which incentivizes each player to set its bid to be equal to its cost function. Okay, and so the main result of the paper is that this mechanism is both incentive compatible as well as efficient. More precisely, if the outcome of the day-ahead market is determined by this equation 8, and the payments are determined by this VCG payment rule, then for every player I, the bid that maximizes its utility is equal to its true cost function Ci, regardless of what the bids R minus I of all the other players are. In other words, truthful bidding is a dominant strategy for every player. And moreover, if every player employs a dominant strategy of truthful bidding, then the actual outcome F star of R, which the ISO computes in the day ahead market, is efficient in the sense that it minimizes the true cost, sum cost of all the players. So this says that the mechanism is incentive compatible, and the second part of the theorem states that the mechanism is efficient. And this is basically a consequence of the VCG mechanism, and the proof also follows the same sequence of steps as the proof of the VCG mechanism. So there are a few important extensions of this work, and I want to spend the last few seconds in advertising our follow-up work on this, which we personally find very exciting. So this ACC paper assumes that the deadlines of all the EVs are deterministic and are known to the EV in the day-ahead market. So one important extension is to relax this assumption and consider the case when the deadlines of the EVs could be stochastic. And in such a situation, what does it even mean for the EVs to bid their deadlines truthfully? So it's important to make some of these ideas precise, and to develop an incentive compatible mechanism for this more general setting turns out to be highly non-trivial. And it requires one to draw tools from mechanism design theory, statistics, and Markov decision processes, and so on. And we've developed such a mechanism in our follow-up paper, and we've actually reported that. So it's available in our archive paper, which is this. So people who are interested in knowing more about this extension, I encourage you to take a look at our archive paper. So I'll end with that, and I thank you for your attention.